and take a look at which guitar are we using today. Do we want to use this one? Do we want to use... Let me get my trusty Martin over here. Yeah, we'll use the old DX27, 272, no, DX2E, I guess. So good morning, Kevin. Good morning. How are you doing today? Good morning. I forgot I still owe you a Lewis and Clark video. Check this out here. Something is going on with this thing. And the neck's pretty straight. I could give it a little bit more relief, which I think I will do. Did you guys get any holiday stuff in this weekend? Any exciting holiday news? You know, we do Christmas here, but you know, I'm willing to entertain any sort of holiday, I suppose. But any Christmas activity? Any Santa sightings anywhere yet? Anybody seen Santa's sleigh coming around? You've been following NORAD at all, tracking Santa? We've got like a 11 degrees here today, and it feels like -1, I guess, or 1 at our location. Hey, this is pretty cool. This happened last night. Our friend Kurt Mangan, Mr. Kurt Mangan, shared our Old Holy Night video on the Kurt Mangan Strings Facebook page, which I thought was pretty cool of him to do. So that's pretty fun, you know. Hey, good morning, M Fish. Good morning. Keep running for us. I love that. Just passing through, wishing you everything great, wonderful. Hey, thank you very much for doing that. Thanks for being here. Bring your guitar next time. Doing well. Good morning, all y'all. What's going on, Mr. Fish? M Fish, just great. Is that Jill? Jill Bourgeois got a green thing going next to her name. Why are you in green? How did you do that? Hey, the Oh Holy Night. Thank you so much. Thank you kindly. That magic at Christmas. Are you talking about it like Merrill Auditorium in Portland, Maine? That Merrill Auditorium is just a wonderful place to see a concert. It's like among the few like really cool venues because it's like got, you know, Portland, Maine is like sort of like the best food sort of north of Boston, I think, right? So if you're a foodie, that's kind of a must stop. But if you ever, you know, if you're in the Boston area, you want to pull into the Wang and take a look at the Blue Man Group. If you haven't seen the Blue Man Group yet, I don't know if they're still playing the Wang or what. Yeah, Jill, I wanted to share with you, I don't know if you heard it, but last night Mr. Kurt Mangan, the owner of the string company, Kurt Mangan Strings, he shared that "Oh Holy Night" video to his Facebook page, which I thought was pretty cool of him to do. So we're definitely thankful to be helping to assisting to spread the Christmas cheer, you know, the Christmas vibe. That arrangement is something that we did together in Drop D. Remember that 2 weeks ago? I added a little bit of a intro and outro, but really cool. Were you using his strings in "Oh Holy Night"? I was, yeah, absolutely. I use Mr. Mangan Strings exclusively. He helped us out with the community project that we were doing, that where a local area high school had lost its accreditation, and the teachers were fighting amongst themselves. It was a big sort of like political mess. You know, everyone wants to be too many, what do you call it? Too many chiefs, not enough Indians, you know, I guess. And it was sort of a disaster. The high school lost its accreditation. And so we came in, we did some community programming, which kind of helped to stir the pot a lot. We bring him back to downtown, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, Kurt was part of that program. And that was a long time ago, and we've remained friends ever since. But you feel his strings. If you get, he does everything. He does stuff for the Fender Custom Shop that other larger companies can't do. He's basically Ernie Ball, right? But now he's Kurt Mangan. And just an amazing craftsman. But this isn't a sales pitch for Kurt Strings. It just, sometimes there are certain things you believe in, right? There are things that we believe in and you feel good about sharing, and other things kind of like you put on that plastic mask, you know what I mean? I try to avoid those moments in my life. Being a Generation Xer, that's not really consistent with my philosophy, is to sputter about on things I don't believe in, right? So, yeah, let's take a look. Let's see what we've got going on this morning. I've got to turn on my second screen, and I appreciate you allowing me to get sort of started easy on this happy Monday. So, all right, just wanted to be sure we've got everybody here. And Fish, Robbie's in the house, Mark's in the house. We've got a full ship. I think we're ready to set sail. Terry Rookie, good morning. Good morning, Terry. M. Baumberger, good morning, Baumberger. I'm Ernie Ball, Super Slinky. Hey, Lance, what's going on? I'm Ernie Ball. I love that. Super Slinky. I remember those days. I was looking at maybe Guitar Player magazines when Slash was playing, And then he was closely associated with the pink bag of Ernie Balls. And I thought, well, if those are good enough for Slash, then they're good enough for me, My 14 or 15-year-old self, not to drive a wedge between me and my, not to, make a gaping hole for that generational gap, but there it is. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start with fingers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 today. We're going to do an abbreviated warm-up because we have a lot to talk about today, especially with the Christmas holiday coming up. We've got some more fun stuff to get moving on, and we're going to work on another great, super easy Jingle Bells today. and you'll all be playing it by the end of the session today. It's that easy, but it's going to sound really cool, right? We're going to employ the George Van Eps method, and we're going to learn a little bit about how Mr. Van Eps organized the guitar so that Ted Greene could do his work, and then everyone hereafter can continue to benefit from the Mr. Van Eps process. So we're going to talk a little bit about celebrating the life of Mr. George Van Eps today, and many of us haven't heard his name, haven't heard him play, haven't heard his method. I have one of his old books, and I was looking through to try to find another original version of it. They're like $200, you know what I mean? I don't know how that happens. I guess they fall out of print or something, and then the originals become, sought after because people like me talk about it for no apparent reason, and then we. Good morning, Lex. Just passing by from thumbs up. Good morning, Mr. Carey, Mr. G. What's going on? Hello from Essex. Sally Forway. Good morning, Sally. Good morning. Get some work done, Lex. Yeah, go get some good quality work done for all of us. That's one of the things me and my wife, we talk about. A friend of mine who's an educator at Brown University, he always says, we all say, my wife and I, or it's supposed to be me and my wife, because we all want to sound smart the way we say it, but that's really not correct grammar, I guess. I don't know. I don't know anything about grammar. I barely know enough about guitar to play it, do you know what I mean? But me and my wife, we talk about work, how I could be, we could be on the back of a garbage truck, just really working with integrity. I could do flipping a burger, at McDonald's or whatever, and just really enjoy every single moment of what I'm doing. That's the trick. A lot of us have forgotten to take a great amount of pride in what it is we do, because what we do matters. What we do matters. Yeah, it does. It certainly does. I'll show you what one of the things I'm talking about. This guy was a veterinarian, right? A veterinary doctor. And a friend of the family, and then he ended up passing away. But one of the things, tragically, one of the things that he ended up doing in his life, I've got sitting right next to me here, and it's made an impact on me. This little thing, this little itty bitty thing. I'll show you what I'm talking about in a moment. But these little things, you never know how far that reach is going to go, What you gonna play? I'm going to play So good. That's a great question, Sally, and I'm glad you're still here long enough to ask that. This is the morning ritual for guitar growth, and I see that Mr. Husband has welcomed Sally to the live chat, which is awesome. Thank you very kindly. Great to see you, Dan. Merry Christmas, and great to see you. And we're going to do the kickstand exercise, and this is no joke. What I wanted to share with you, this little drawer right here. I think I shared it with you before, but you can see I've taught with this desk in every program that I've created since 1997, I think. This has been around. It's cherry and it's hand carved. And here's the, if you've been around with me for a long time, you can see the place where I almost burned the building down, right? That was a candle that didn't get turned off overnight, and thank God nothing happened. But you can see how important this thing is. It's just such a simple desk. It's so simple, but it was handmade and it was so well done. And the feel of it, it's just a real pleasure to think that a veterinarian had enough time in his life to want to make something real, right? So it's just it's a testament to, I keep it around, number one, because it's a beautiful piece of furniture. It has a substantial history with my person and my family that I couldn't part with it. It will likely end up with my children and my man-child, and he can do with it as he wishes, you know. But he's cursed with the family farm, as Thoreau says. And we're doing this exercise called the kickstand. And speaking of doing something worthwhile, so this exercise here, as many of us know, is we're kicking that first finger back, and we'll call it the kickstand exercise. It was coined the kickstand, not exactly sure how, but there's a luthier, a guitar builder right here in this very live chat who her very first guitar build and finish was nicknamed Kickstand after this exercise. So there's a lot of really interesting and cool stuff going on here that is just, you know, happens in our own little pocket of the internet. So I was on the internet with YouTube a little bit last week, and then we're talking a little bit about future, you know. But there's just there are a lot of people thinking about a lot of different kinds of things to do in life. One of my important things to do in life is to continue to work through this morning ritual for, so Sally, this is my long-winded approach, my circumtangential response to your question, what are you going to play? So this is my morning ritual for guitar growth, and I hope you stick around and let me just, I really want to share this with you. But this is my honest to goodness morning warm-up, and I call it the morning ritual because I really like the ceremonial process of playing the guitar. I kind of feel like we're, you know, spending life at the Abbey or the monks, you know, we're becoming something that is sort of sacred, that is being sort of like not lost, but we certainly want to remember the importance of interfacing with something that can enrich, whether it's a control of you know, an aeronautic control, and you're getting out there out of orbit, and you've got to practice, you know, controlling the orbital, you know, the orbital patterns around the Earth, or approaching the moon or something, or you know, controlling a rover. Those little things we become so good at interfacing with, you know, Call of Duty, you know, Halo. We become so good at Fortnite. We become so Minecraft. We become so good at interfacing with the thing that we can maybe those don't really help us to find our souls. But I believe that music, especially practicing a guitar craft for me, is a great way to deepen the relationship with myself, my wife, my family, my community, my God, if I really pay attention to what's going on here, it can really benefit me, and maybe others. You know, that's the idea. But this is my morning ritual for guitar growth. I do this every weekday morning. Yep, every weekday morning. And if you're here every weekday morning, you get a chance to hear me say that over and over and over again. But it is, it's important to be sort of like, for me, and Mr. Shreve, you know, the drummer from Mr. Carlos Santana's band, he talks about, you know, the importance of repetition, and that there is no way to get through to the next thing unless you commit to a certain amount of repetition. And he said, you know, I literally heard him say, you know, literally, while I was mixing the audio for his interview, and or fixing it or whatever. But he says, Westerners, Western musicians, or American musicians feel the need to do something different every 4 beats or whatever. And he talks about generating a groove and the discipline that it takes to I don't know if this is a cool one or not, but he talks about what it takes to get, I guess it's not going to let me go over there, what it takes to get through to the next level, right? And usually that's a tremendous amount of repetition. See, I don't think about life after the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise until I can master the 1, 2, 3, 4 exercise. Do you know what I mean? I don't think about life after my first bowl of Wheaties in the morning until I get that first bowl of Wheaties in me and cure that hunger pain, right? And then I can start thinking about, whoa, what comes next? So there's a tremendous amount of unknown area to uncover, or who talks about that? Was it Socrates or Plato, like lifting the veil, moving from the known to the unknown. The veil gets lifted, and that we move from that well-lighted place in a little bit further into the darkness, and that too becomes light if we spend a little time there working about. Sometimes we're working in the dark and the candle burns out. We need to go back to the shop, get another candle, and we can work a little bit. This time we'll go back with a torch, and we'll set a torch on the wall and keep that burning while we go a little further with a little bit of bitty candle. And so we have these little breadcrumb trails that we leave everywhere we go. And that's what's really going on here. But if you stick around, Sally, for the end of the session, we're going to talk about Jingle Bells today. It's going to be a super easy session, but super cool and a little bit stylized. We're going to learn about the late, great George Van Eps, the predecessor to Mr. Ted Greene's life's work. And we're going back a little bit. We're going back, we're still in Western harmonic content. We're not sort of going like Middle East, we're not heading to the East yet. We're not going to the thing that came before the West yet, but we may, not today. But if you wanted to listen to my Oh Holy Night video that we just dropped over the weekend, we actually worked on this together for the last 2 weeks, or the last week or so, and 2 weeks ago we worked on it. 2 weeks ago today we began with it. And so we're just going to do another one of those beautifully accessible Christmas songs. But in the beginning of that Oh Holy Night, there was a little bit of a quote, an intro and an outro that sort of speaks to the region from which the sentiment came, right? Yeah. So Joseph, good morning. Eating string while sitting on a bed of nails was worth it. What's going on? Carlos was tripping balls at Woodstock. Greenberry, what's going on? Good morning. The meaning of life is to improve yourself. That's good. There are some meaningful comments here. Let me go back here. Squirrel. I believe that after sufficient time, burn marks are called character marks. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah, it adds character, right? There's an entire line of carpentry built around distressing pine boards to finish up the kitchen to make it look sort of distressed, right? There's an entire market based around that. So I guess Sally didn't stick around. Is Sally, you still here? I don't know if Sally's still here. Hopefully she is. But it's a great opportunity for us to grab a guitar. We're going to talk about triads in a few minutes. Really simple, but a lot of fun to play. and we'll get right back into that. We'll just finish up on the warm-up, and we're getting to Pentatonics. I know we've been working Pentatonic system. Arnold Yosor's Song for Plucking. Yes. This is a good exercise to do. If you're here and you wanted to sort of fortify your picking hand, just taking a stroll through the pentatonic palace, if you will, is just a really great thing to do. We got a temperature reading here of about 11 degrees Fahrenheit this morning. And it feels with the wind chill. I know I'm very familiar with wind chill because I travel as a general practicing mountaineer, you know, with some light duty technical high function skills. But I'm really well aware of what the wind can do to like peel the heat away from a person, right? So that wind chill really does matter. It does matter. And if you don't have a shell on, you could put all of the clothing on to insulate yourself. But if you don't have a shell to keep that heat, to retain the heat within that little bubble, that heat's going away with the wind chill. That's why the wind chill is so dangerous, potentially. And then I like to do these ideas. Good. I like to do these ideas, move things around. Shape number 2 is going to be 2 4 1 4, and then 1 3, and then 2 4 again. So 2 4 1 2 4 1 4 1 4. 1 3 2 4 2 4. And I've got an ancillary heater running today this morning, so you could probably hear a little extra grind in the background, so hopefully that's not too bothersome. Negative 18 Celsius with wind chill brisk. Yeah, it's a little chilly up there now, I would say, right? You call that chilly, right? Some of us call that cold, but he's like, yeah, it's brisk. Brisk. Yeah, you know, if it all, I guess it's all relative. I call it brisk, you know, I've got a short sleeve on still with maybe a down vest, you know, and it's, you know, a little, you got a little bite on the skin. That's a brisk thing for me, but, you know, negative 18 Celsius, yeah, that's brisk up there, I guess. Different language. The language barriers are what get me, right? It's the same language. We're talking the same language, the Queen's English, but King's English. But we're really we mean different things sometimes. Very strangely, comfortably numb. Speaking of wind chill. Let's take a break to go down a quick Pink Floyd rabbit hole. Distant ship walk on the horizon. Coming through in waves, your lips move, I can't hear what you say. Really great craftsmanship there, right? You know what, also this chord, this B sus2 is also, I'm not aware of too many things, I know what I know, if you know what I mean. Do you get it? You know that, remember that old tune? Great, so much music out there. Oh yeah, we were on shape numbers. Talk about squirrel, good call here. Let's go ahead and just get back on track. Shape number 3, pentatonic system, and then we're going to, if you stick around here, you are going to learn how to play, guaranteed, Jingle Bells in a really orderly, really cool, stylized fashion. It's going to be a super quick session, but it's something you can teach the kids, you know what I mean, or teach a friend. Maybe you're an aspiring guitar practitioner, guitar teacher, and this is a really easy thing to share. You know, really great Christmas piece of repertoire to share. Get somebody started on how the guitar actually works and how what we can accomplish by using multiple strings to add to the melody or embellish, really fan out or flesh out the melody in a chord melody format. And we're going to use this, you know, George Van Eps style methodology. And really, we'll talk about what that means in just one moment. Probably another few moments, we're going to transition over to the discovery-based part of this morning ritual for guitar growth. I'm Jason, and I wanted to welcome you to the morning ritual for guitar growth. This is episode 248 of season 1. We're approaching the Christmas season, and we are also approaching our final episode of this year, where we are going to take the first episode we did in January, the last episode we do in December, and we are going to overlap them and look at what did we gain. What happens when I practice when I warm up every weekday morning for 1 hour for 260 times a year. What happens to my person after going longitudinally through the process of warming up? You're going to want to stick around for that at least. That would be my guess, because I've never seen anybody. I've always seen people, including myself, preaching, thou shalt warm up, and thou shalt benefit from thy warming up, thy process of warming up. But I never really, never really measured it. This year, I decided to measure it for myself, and I wanted to see what would happen every step along the way. And I'll tell you what, this has been one of the greatest years of guitar practice for me personally that I've had on record to date, other than when I was just young and playing, 8 hours a day, just wanting everything right now. But I've got to tell you, we are going to have some really great responses to this longitudinal observation. All right, so we're starting with fingers. Shape number 4 is 1-4, and then 1-3, and then 2-4, and then 1-4 again. 1 E and a 2. We're going to finish up with a pentatonic palace, and then you can join me. You can join me. Grab your guitar, and if it's too fast for you, you can just play along and noodle along. And if you really want it, if you're really after it, you'll know that it's okay to keep looking at the video, keep trying to look at what's happening and imitate it. But you have to really want to play the guitar in order to do that. Like the old cats used to listen to records, listen to albums, and just let the albums roll, and try to learn one note at a time, and just see if they could match up something. And then every time they'd listen to the record, they would have a little bit more of the song together, but they had to be really after it, and they had to be really wanting it. And you got to ask yourself, what is my plan? Am I, because playing the guitar and becoming really skilled at the guitar is going to take a little bit of doing. It's going to take a little bit of time. But I thought, if I'm here, people like me are here every weekday morning at 7:30. We're lowering the bar for entry, right? shape number 5. 2424 1414 2424. 1 E and a 2, you know what to do. And this is probably the easiest Jingle Bells that I'll ever learn. You know what I mean? It's other than playing a single note solo or single note melody. This is easily probably the easiest version. I used to teach this to my students a long time ago, and everybody seemed to get it right away, you know. But then you take away the math, you take away the actual lesson, which isn't really to learn the song, but it's really how to break down the guitar into multiple dimensions and have it, you know, we're basically simplifying the mystery, right? We're removing the mystery of the multi-dimensional instrument called the guitar. One of the things that I really enjoyed about the instrument is that Mr. Mick Goodrick, you know, a chairperson for the guitar department at Berklee College of Music, he would break down the guitar before him, just like his predecessor before him, Mr. William Levitt, the late great William Levitt, you know, super famous, wrote the Big Green One book, and the rest was history. But these people like to break things down. Even if you're the best guitar player in your region, in your high school, and you come to me, you Berklee, you come to Berklee, you come to Mick, you come to Bill, you come to you know, anyone there that's got his or her stuff together, you know you're going to be broken down immediately. You're going back to the foundations. And we're all going to start there because we want to remove any potential gaps in knowledge. And so we have these systems that break down the complex guitar. And Mick Goodrick's system was called the unitar. And the unitar would basically take all of the 6 strings off of the guitar and leave us with only 1 string at a time. Feels so good. Yeah, very cool. I love these tunes that are coming back. A song that always calms you down. Canadians do have a different cold scale. I worked the North Pole. Oh, Santa's Workshop. We've got an elf in here. Fog Hat, man, I love that. That's a great YouTube handle right there. Very cool. I love breaking down music so I can understand the why, not just the how. You took the words right out of my mouth. Man, you got it. You got it. So here's what's going on. We just finished all of the pentatonic system. Let's take a look at this is what it looks like functionally if we don't plane it. We use it all in sequence. I'm just thinking back to Blues Deluxe from Joe Bonamassa. He does this thing where he doesn't use that flat 7 on the way back down. And it's really kind of a pink scramble to get that first finger roll back down to the B string. But if you haven't heard Blues Deluxe yet, you've got to go check it out. It's just one of the greatest sort of like raw blues guitar sounds I've heard in a long time. So yeah, so we've got let's see, go to make the donuts. Jill, go. You know what, I really enjoy the maple twist donuts, you know. we've got a bakery that's about 20 minutes from here that makes these really great donuts, and they're the only ones in our entire state that are doing what they're doing, and they're so good and just so amazing that my doctor wrote a prescription to put a fence between my house and the donut shop. They're that good. So we're about that time. I think we can sort of safely. Let's break the guitar down into one string, and this will help us segue into the George Van Eps approach to things. So I'm starting with open, low, high, or open, high, E string. Open, low, high, E string. Man, I did not get enough. I didn't get the quality sleep last night that I was hoping for, I guess. So open, high, E string, finger 1, finger 2, finger 3, finger 4. Now I'm covering every finger, every fret in first position. And then I can use finger 1 to leap up to here, the undiscovered territory. I don't really make donuts. I figured you probably didn't make donuts. But if you did, they would be the world's best donuts, I would think. So fingers 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I'm doing is I'm going to the next available fret with my first finger. And this is basically the essentials of Mick Goodrick's the unitar. So instead of the guitar, we're calling it the unitar, which of course is a reference to there being only one string. We're taking the complex and simplifying it to a reduced form where I can understand the guitar in a linear sense, where instead of multi dimensions. So I've got coverage up to and including fret number 4. The next available finger, if I'm using 4 fingers, is going to be finger 1 on fret number 5. 5, 6, 7, 8. Who do we appreciate? We've got this 5, 6, 7, 8. The next fret is finger 1 on fret number 9. So now I'm not watching my 4th finger, not watching where that's going, because if I watch where that's going, I'm always guessing every time. I know I'm in 9th position because my 1st finger's there. Now I know the next fret position I need to make it to is finger 1 on fret 5. So I need to make it to fret 5. If that happens, I know that my 4th finger naturally will land on fret number 8. So 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to do finger 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to transition to position 5, and I got it correct. And then I'm going to transition down to position number 1 and then lay my 4th finger down. So this way, breaking the guitar down into positions really pays dividends in the long run, because now we can make our way across the guitar neck blindfolded if we need to. This is a long, steady road of practice, of course. It doesn't happen overnight. For me, it doesn't. Maybe for you it will, but I would be prepared for it not to happen overnight, just in case, you know. Gaming Spot, good morning. As a retired cop, that hurts me, Jill. That's funny. It was in the bagel shop the other day. I go to this bagel shop on Sunday mornings, and I see these two fire. They work for fire, the Capitol Fire, and the fire guys roll in, the guy and gal, and they're working the ambulance. You know what I mean? So they're like You know, they're the high-speed blokes loaded with PTSD, just doing the job nobody ever thanks them for. And so they roll in. I'm there with my wife, and we just get done off our knees praying. You know what I mean? And we go out for a coffee and a bagel, sourdough bagels. And I see these two rescue guys roll in. I say guys, but guy and girl, you know what I mean. It's okay. And if they roll in, and I said, you know, guys, I walk over to them. I said, you know, this is not a donut shop. And I thought, you know, I'm never sure what kind of response I'm going to get out of anyone. He says, you know we're not cops, right? I thought, what a great sense of humor. And I thought, finally, I found someone in public with a sense of humor. And I thought, man, we could be friends almost. But it is funny how this guitar works, how the mystery of the guitar is unfolded. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to suggest. We've got a guitar player here that's played guitar for several years. That's really cool. I play guitar for 7 years. Are you on? I don't know what that is. Is that Len Smith? Spill. I don't know. I dare not say it because I don't know what it is. Got to run here too. Have a great day, everybody. Until tomorrow. Take care of yourself, Kevin. I hope to catch up with you again soon, man. Merry Christmas. All right, we'll see you tomorrow. So this is basically the. Let's get rid of this thing because I think we're done with that. But what we're doing is I'm just working on Jingle Bells, and so I'm going to basically run the melody, and I'm starting with open high E string, right, and then I'm moving up to fret 3 on the high E string. We're in the key of C, moving back down to Do, Re, and then Mi, open high E string, right? So that's really simple. Then we're moving up to the subdominant F, fret 1 on the E, open high E, and then so number one important thing for me is to identify where the melody is. Where is the melody coming from? Well, the melody, according to Quincy Jones, like melody comes from God, right? He's no fool. He knows what's going on, knew what's going on. And just a wonderful musical mind and genius and that kind of stuff. But we're talking about harmonizing the chord, right? I suppose we should be in tune for this segment. There it is. And it's really like, basically just using all right, let's take a look at this. I guess I need to explain this a little bit first. It is. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a beat-up Chevrolet. You got that right. I love that, man. All right, so we're thinking C major chord, and the way Mr. Greene would absorb it is based on the late great George Van Eps' work. His life's work was to organize basically these chord scales. I've been watching the Beatles anthology. Ooh, where's this now? It still blows my mind what these guys came up with during the 3-chord rock era, then produced some of the most complex music ever. I have friends like I have friends that like admit publicly that they're not into the Beatles, and I'm like, I just don't you don't have to like their music, but, and then again, some of us don't take time to smell the roses too, so I guess that's probably what the problem is. What the issue is that we don't necessarily always we don't have the time in our busy lives with all of this 21st century stress pressing down on us, so to really appreciate it. But I thought the same, okay, thank you. I've thought the same thing. I think I may have seen it too, and it looks to me like these things, like you could take like the melody, like George Harrison. I had a lot of these discussions like about in the days where I thought George Harrison was just like sort of a basic guitar player, but he was a tone chaser. Like his tones, if you like, how do you get those tones? How do you decide that tone is going to fit the bill for the song? Like, most of us will do this, like, what do you call it, like negative or subtractive EQ, just to get it to sit right in the mix and get like a neutral sound, and then you can color it and come back and fix it after and dress it up and ornament it. And I mean, they were doing a lot of, they basically used the studio as an extension of their capabilities and their songwriting capabilities. And you got that, yeah, we could go on and on. We could do a full dissertation on it, Dan. I believe that for sure. But we're thinking about, the C chord. The next chord that I'm going to use is the D minor chord, right? So if I'm playing C, I'm just using triads, but I could use the F chord, right? Right, so here's something that instead of just writing up the C major triad to the D minor triad, to the E minor triad, to the F triad, I might start thinking in terms of 2 or 3 chords, and I'm glad you mentioned this. This is probably why you mentioned this, Dan. It's likely why you mentioned it, and I'm just trying to keep up, but I appreciate you bringing it up because the 3 chord thing, super important here, especially in the George Van Eps world of Jingle Bells. So you have this really cool like opportunity to kind of diatonically plane the triad through, and I know we've talked about triads before, you and I, right here. So we have the C, and then the B diminished, and then the A minor, and then the G, and then the F, and then the E minor, and then the D minor, and then the C. So we're working our way through the chord progression, as they progress through, or they plane through the major scale. So we don't have to do that. Sounds pretty vanilla, we don't always get the grip of the chord function there. We don't always get that torque that we're looking for, you know what I mean? We're trying to spin the tires off the rim, you know what I mean? We're trying to really, you're not going to drag by just showing up in your hybrid car and then pressing on the little accelerated pedal. You've got to have that torque, to get that, and those wide tires. And you've seen what happens when your rims and the rear axle's trying to just literally break the tire bead right off the rim, right off the wheel. We want to get that kind of grip, I think, by using the 1. The next chord I could use is the 4. I'm going to go up. I'm just using this as a way to paint our way through the first, the sol, la, ti, do of the C major scale. Sol, la, ti, and then do again, back to, so I'm moving from the root position, C major triad, to the C major triad and with a 3rd in the bass, or what we would call the first inversion, or whatever, 1/6 or whatever it is. It depends on which school we've come from. But we're just using C in the root note, and we're moving to C chord with E in the root note and in the bass, not the root, because it's in the bass note. So we're using root, C in the bass, or root in the bass, and then 3 in the bass. And then in order to get there, I have this open G, and then this C, just this huge 2.5 step intervallic leap, right? So we go from C or G to A to B to C. So I could basically do I only have 3 notes to move here, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4 notes to move here, so something's got to give. So I'm moving from C with G on the top, and I'm going to keep here because I'm moving to the 4 chord with the Sol, La, Ti, Do, La. The 4 chord is still diatonic to the C, and then whenever I'm using the 1, 3 chords, the 4 chord, and then the 5 chord, the 5/7, the 5 dominant chord with the 5 in the bass, right? So that would typically be the G. Taxman. And then it would be that, but I've got the 5 in the bass, and then the 3 in the bass of the 1 chord. So I have the 1 chord, the 4, the 5, and then the 1, and that's really the basis for Mr. Van Eps' approach. So we have the C chord, we have the D minor, sort of an arrangement of this. E minor, the F, we could do the G. We could use this more simple approach where we have then I'd have to get down to the C with the E in the bass, right? And then F. I'd probably use the D minor inversion here. And then when you get to the 7 chord, there's always that 5 diminished. We don't use the 7 diminished. We use the 5 dominant to lead for the leading tone. So we're really trying to think about the 1 chord, the 4 chord, the 5 chord, and the 4 chord with the added 6, right, if you will, the 5 chord with the added 6. So we're trying to keep these little pockets of triads handy while we also understand that we're trying to focus on using only the 1, 4, and 5 variations, right? Just trying to keep it simple, but if we wanted to just kind of work through the major scale, let me just walk through it one time and then I'll let you guys go. So we're thinking C major triad, and we just grab that G note up there, and then we go back to that C chord on the D, G, and B strings, and then we're working up what would be the diatonic, the equivalent of diatonically planing the triads, right? So that's what we're doing, but what makes a difference here, Dan, I think, is when we use the 5 chord and then the 4 chord in unexpected ways. So that right, so you have the flat 7 in the bass this time. We could have used that shape, but we don't because that's the E minor, and then we want the C minor. So there are a lot of these choices, knowing triads, picking simple Christmas songs, simple holiday songs, They're so worthwhile just checking out, sitting around for 15 minutes and see what we can pick out. And we'll pick them all out. But have a great day. Stay safe and it's a great idea. Great idea. See you later, Dan. All right, thanks for being here with us, and Merry Christmas. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Be back at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And until we meet again, I wish you all happy picking.